from Roger and Andy, but there is only one story in town at the moment to start off with, and it is of course the sacking of Philippe Clement. It is the interim appointment of Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds and Alan McGregor. We want to know what you think of it. 0141 951 1025. Let's speak to Joe, who's a Rangers fan in Cambuslang. Joe, how are you?
Yeah, good evening, panel.
Hi, Joe.
Happy with Clement being sacked, but I've also got a lot of sympathy with the man. I've been on this show many times and calling for him to go, but I think, as I've said many times on this show, I think the guy was sold something that didn't exist, and I think there's a lot of other people who need to take responsibility at Rangers for what happened. I think what's happened today with the announcement of Barry Ferguson, McGregor, Dodds and McCann, I think that's the board being very, very obvious. They think they've been clever. They're trying to pull the wool over the Rangers fans' eyes and getting everybody excited because we're bringing back a couple of legends and another couple of great players that played for Rangers. But this, for me, all goes back to, again, the summer. Who decided to give Clement an extended contract? This man should have been out the door months ago. That performance on Saturday, as you guys quite rightly said, let's take nothing away from St Mirren. I mean, I was at the game. We left after 83 minutes because I couldn't watch anymore. But St Mirren were excellent. The 2 goals they took were excellent and they thoroughly deserved their win, as did Queen's Park a couple of weeks ago. Rangers Football Club right now, pains me to say it, is rotten from top to bottom. Rotten. And there's a lot of people there that need to take a long, hard look at themselves. Not just Philippe Clement, because he's been the scapegoat, but I do believe he lost the dressing room. I do believe some of the stuff he was saying after the games was just absolute nonsense. But that man, I've got sympathy with the man. I mean, he's a human being. I've got sympathy for the fella because he's been sold a lame duck. What he was told, he alluded to it several times in interviews, what he was told he was getting compared to what he actually got was night and day. The recruitment's been shocking. That boy Barami, if he gets a game, then so can I, and I'm 45. So, I mean, I'm really... Okay, we brought in Barry Ferguson, we brought in McGregor, Dodds and McCann today. That's fantastic, but we're playing for nothing. As Roger said, we're still in the Europa League. We're not going to win it. We're out both cups. Celtic aren't going to drop 13 points. And we've just brought them in just to basically... It'll be nice. They'll do some nice interviews. It'll get posted on the club channels. We're bringing back the legends and all the rest of it. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. We're going to get to the summer. Umpteen players will leave. The season ticket holders will pay all the money that we normally do, and the my Jers nonsense, and then when they release 4 or 5 strips, now a 5th strip, a 4th strip, all the rest of it. What are we going to do in the summer? Is there going to be money for a rebuild? Because for us to attract a manager to take us anywhere, we need to have the funds available. Right now, you could bring in Guardiola, Conte, and Mourinho as his assistants, and they could do nothing with that squad that's in play right now. Nothing. On Saturday, they were devoid of ideas. They didn't look interested. They looked as if they didn't know what they were doing. Now, whether you blame Clement for that, but as Andy Halliday said, a lot of the players need to take a long, hard look at themselves.
Well, thank you to Joe. Graham is a Rangers fan up next in Easterhouse. What are you making of it all, Graham?
I'm delighted away, mate. As the boy said there, they feel sorry for him. He's sold a pup. But that board, really, for years have been making decisions that have been poor. Letting Cholak and Arfield leave and keeping Jack and Roof, who were always injured. Letting Olsen go and bringing in Proper. Who thought he was better than... And then Saturday, bullied all over the park, mate. They were terrified of him. They were all big boys, and Rangers players were terrified of him. They'll not get that with Barry Ferguson in the dugout. They'll go out. They'll have heart. They might know... I don't think it will improve a great deal because the players aren't good enough. But with Ferguson, they'll give 100% or they'll know all about it. That's the thing I think about Ferguson coming in.
It's something you until the end of the season. Let's stick with the phones and speak to John, who's a Rangers fan in Maryhill. How are you, John?
Hi, good evening, guys. Thanks for having us on again.
No problem.
Don't know where to begin here, but the appointments for me is like a pantomime show. No disrespect to the guys that have been Rangers legends, but it's a pantomime show. It's absolutely poor that they've put these guys in this position. You've got Kevin Thompson, who, understanding, is a great coach, great knowledge back in with the youths. Could have easily stepped in there.
John, just out of interest, what do you feel the differences between Kevin Thompson, Barry Ferguson, Billy Dodds, Neil McCann is specifically? Because it's not as if he has any more, vastly, managerial experience compared to the rest of them, does he?
Well, I've watched games at Clyde, and all Barry Ferguson seems to do is shout and ball and swear at players, and just doesn't make sense. But again, they're legends at the club. I don't think it was the right appointment, personally. And this is what I'm touching that nobody's brought in. We had Vanny Van Bronckhorst and Steven Gerrard. These guys didn't get a chance. These guys were false promises. Promised that they get this and that. And now they're in a position of get Clement in for 16 months. He's probably been a scapegoat, like the other caller said. False promises. And now we're reverting to bringing Rangers legends back to run the club to the end of the season.
What would you have done, John, in this position with Philippe Clement leaving? What would you have liked to have seen the club do instead?
Well, they'd been better giving the job to Big Marvin. He might have done something, and I'm being sarcastic when I say that, but I think Kevin Thompson, what I've been speaking about, I think the boys get, for what I understand, get a great knowledge of the game. He's been at Ibrox for years. He was a player, and from what I was told, he's a very good coach. So I would have gave him the job and then worked round about him. That's what I would have done personally. I don't know what the viewers think. I don't know what you guys think, but that's my views.
Where is your optimism, John, that interim management team will be able to do a better job than Philippe Clement in the next few months?
I've got no idea, but as I say, it wouldn't have been my option. You could have even brought in Big Dunk and Ferguson, obviously sitting without a job. You could have brought in Big Dunk, as I say, Kevin Thompson. Again, these guys are legends. No disrespect to the McCanns at Dundee and whatever happened in Barry Ferguson, but I'm speaking as a Rangers fan, and I can't speak for everyone out there, but me personally, it's the wrong option. And that's all this is to do, is bring the fans in, pack the house, Ross sing and dance, we'll get 4 legends back in there, let's get the atmosphere up. It's absolute nonsense. It's completely wrong, and it's a pantomime show, and we're a laughing stock, to be quite honest with you.
Well, thank you. Moody's Burn, Craig, what are you making of the news over the past 24 hours?
Can I just say I completely disagree with that guy John's last few sentences here. What I would say is, for me, it's starting to sink in, when the news broke 24 hours ago, and obviously Clement was still here 48 hours ago. That's how quickly the things moved. Initially, listen, Barry Ferguson was my hero growing up, like he was for a lot of people my age. And I've had the good fortune of meeting the guy a couple of times, and this, that and the other. They say never meet your heroes, but, it was a great experience. But in terms of it settled down for me today, I thought it was just a kind of, newspaper kind of story, because these things, you can take with a pinch of salt. But when I seen it this lunchtime, I was like, it makes sense for me. And I know it's a completely different set of circumstances, but what it kind of rings a bit of me to me is when Celtic brought in Neil Lennon, Alan Thompson and Mjalby, after, I forget who their manager was at the time, but it was
Tony Mowbray.
That's the one.
Tony Mowbray was sacked after a 4-0 defeat at St Mirren. Oddly enough, defeat to St Mirren.
Aye. But as I say, for me, I completely disagree. Kevin Thompson, yes, there has been rumblings, but I think, working with the academy for a few years and then see what happens with him. But Barry, I'm going to contradict myself here, right? But the one thing that's brilliant about it for me is Barry's passion and Alan McGregor. They're not going to shy away from telling those players the home truths and in that dressing room. I'd love to be a wee fly in the wall, if it's like a draw at half time on Saturday at Ibrox. The flip side of that is Barry got caught up in arguments with Alloa fans, and that was Alloa, and he's, it was on YouTube and this, that and the other. So I've got concerns about his, maybe not temperament, maybe that's the wrong word, but it's only to the end of the season. The season's gone, and it's to get a bit of pride back in the jersey and tell these players, like I say, Neil McCann probably won't be shy in telling them as well. I've no idea what Billy Dodds is like as a personality as such.
Oh, he won't be shy in telling them either, Craig, believe me.
Well, you've got 4 in there, and as I say, that's been racking, through my mind today at work and stuff like that Lennon, Thompson, Mjalby thing. And that worked quite well for Celtic, didn't it, to a certain extent. So, what I did say...
Your thoughts on that or on anything else? 01419511025. Gary is up next. How are you, Gary?
Evening, gents. How are we? All right?
How you
doing,
doing,
Gary?
thank you.
I just wanted to say I've been on a good few times saying get rid of Clement, get rid of him. He's lost the dressing room, all that. But I watched the stuff on social media and where I'm leaving the stadium. It was difficult. I actually felt sorry for the guy. I'll be honest with you. I've been on loads of times, told you that, get him out. But watching him leaving, the way he was treated was shocking, absolutely shocking. I just actually felt sorry for him, to be honest with you. I thought he was just sold an absolute, led up a garden path, basically, you know. But he's the one that picks the teams. I watched the games with the Queen's Park and the result against St Mirren and stuff, and they players that were out there were shocking, disgusting. No one of the fans were just leaving the stadium. I know the guy said that 80th minute, I seen him leaving at half time. It was so bad.
What do you make of the interim appointments?
Well, it's funny, I was just thinking about it as the guys were talking there. Bringing in McGregor, right? Good goalkeeping coach. Barry Ferguson, centre half, centre midfield. Neil McCann on the left, and Billy Dodds up front. That's basically what we need, apart from a left back as well. But I mean, I would play these guys on Wednesday night. I'm telling you, because these guys are. That's the positions we need. We need strong at the back, definitely. But I was watching the game, and Butland he had more touches than the boys up front with his feet. He passes it out to Jeffy on the left. Jeffy ran up, got to the midfield, got to the halfway line, turned round, and then passed it all the way back to Butland. And it's just like, what he's doing? It's just not.
I wonder if
William, is it a case of maybe this interim management team needing a bit of patience?
I don't know if they'll get patience from the Rangers fans. The Rangers fans are very anxious, and that's why I just think anything could happen now. You know, that logically, I think it's likely that you'll see Celtic beat Rangers 6-0. But that's not how football works. You see the success with Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen. We can go back in time, look at Arrigo Sacchi at AC Milan. I really think, I wouldn't be surprised if Barry Ferguson is a success and he surprises us all. I think it's all about chemistry, the chemistry that he can form with his, with Billy Dodds, with Alan McGregor. And I would just say to you guys on the panel, imagine you were having a dinner party, right? Would you rather have Philippe Clement come to your dinner party, or would you rather have Barry Ferguson, Alan McGregor, Billy Dodds and Neil McCann?
Thanks to William, and let's speak to Mark, who is in Giffnock. Mark, how are you?
Good evening, Sam.
Hi, Mark.
First and foremost, a man's lost his job. Some of the vitriol online has been shocking to Clement.
Mark, are you at a rap concert?
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, we'll just clear that up, because I think he was being drowned out by whatever was going. There we go, loud and clear, Mark.
Good man. First and foremost, the vitriol to Clement is shambolic that we're getting online, so I want to wish him all the best. Guy was doing his best. He was in the wrong movie, the wrong job, but, some of the vitriol, some of the comments online are shocking, horrible. So I want to say that, first and foremost, that needs to stop. That's not fair. So that guy has lost his job, so I want to wish him all the best. He's in the wrong job, and that's the reality. But we need to deal with the bigger picture. The bigger picture is the board. The club needs gutted from top to bottom, because it really has been terrible. The whole club's been ran terribly. So we need to get that sorted. The board, if they're going to be selling up, let's get a move on. Let's get this happening. I heard somebody earlier on saying there's no rush here with the guys that brought in, but there is a rush. The rush is that we need to be ready for the new season, and we need to get moving. So I want to see the board now sell up and do what they're meant to be doing, which they can't talk about, apparently, confidentiality agreements. If it's Dave King selling, Douglas Park, George Letham, all of them, whoever, we need to get a move on, because the club has been ran worse than an amateur team. Amateur teams at least are ran pretty well. So I know from my local team, Pollock. So they need to run the club better, and we need to really see what's going to happen there. And as for the guys they've brought in, they've come in. It really isn't much of a talking point, to be honest. There's 11 league games. Let them do what they can do. I'm sure there'll be a pick-up in results because they'll hopefully get a lot more out of the players. And Europe's a bonus if they can do something there. But as I say, the bigger picture here is the board. And they've had some good managers win Broncos European final. Wouldn't back Gerrard, didn't really back Clement. So we really need to see that from the board. And let's not forget the shambles that Philip started with this year. We couldn't even play at Ibrox. So, there's been huge problems. And we need to focus on the bigger picture here.
We speak to Craig in Kenning Park. Craig, how are you?
Aye, very good, very good. Aye, a wee bit more upbeat today. Fergie and that coming back in the door, so...
You pleased with those appointments?
Aye, I'm off. One thing that I'm a wee bit confused about is I've heard whispers that our assistant manager we just gave a 3-year deal to is very, very high profile and is getting shaped to be the next kind of manager, much in the Ronnie Dyer way at Celtic. It just seems strange that we've kept him hanging about, but can he really moan? If you're not prepared to run through brick walls for Fergie, Griggsy, Neil McCann, then you're not prepared to do it for MD, do you know what I mean? I was on the phone a while ago and I said about take the bear out of the fight and the fight out of the bear, but...
Oh, was that you? I remember, Craig, I remember.
Aye, and you I think you ridiculed me, but
I did, I most certainly did not.
He's about to see why I was saying that.